The Bible itself explains how it is that spirits come to occupy the human form with or without consent. If we're looking to understand how Adam and Eve were created from the dust of the earth, go ahead and read or watch The Golden Compass. That's the dust, the parallel reality that is not as dense as what they call the 3D physical reality that we're experiencing. That's the dust of the earth. When it talks about this Yahweh, I am that I am, that God making clothing out of animal skin for Adam and Eve because he was kicking them out of the Garden of Eden, that parallel reality that's not quite as dense as 3D. It wasn't he didn't, harden some leather and put some armor on Adam. He didn't make some nice soft suede for Eve. No, the animal skin was genetically modifying bodies for them to inhabit. So, really, when people say that the physical body is a spacesuit for the entities, the consciousness, that is correct. We can choose to play that role if we're conscious of it and we're giving fully informed consent, which children, their cognitive abilities, they can't understand and comprehend the significance of being occupied by another entity. If that's the role we want to play, fine, great, as long as you're doing it with fully informed consent. However, to genetically modify even an animal, say a human being was to genetically modify an animal to serve its purpose. We see that. We see that in breeding of dogs, especially. When they do that, like we have pugs, they have a hard time breathing. We have large breed dogs, and their intestines always twist. We don't make healthy for them biological entities. So if it's not healthy for the dog to be bred to become a pug, then you don't want to do that. You don't want to bring something that has difficulty in existing in its physical reality. That's cruel. So that's how all of this comes to be here on the earth plane. These parallel realities, the gods decided, hey, we don't want you here. You need to go learn something, so we're going to modify these vessels for you. But these vessels have a consciousness and they already have a purpose. And the earth has a purpose for them. There's so much more, so much further that this can be developed. For example, beavers build dams. So if human beings build dams, it doesn't mean it's unnatural. But is the human being going to discern and intuit the right place to build a dam, and how big it should be? And speaking of intuiting things, when the Bible talks about they were given these animal skins to protect them, it's because an entity from that other parallel reality, that other dimension, is not going to be able to intuit what it needs for itself in this 3D denser reality. And so the physical vessel has better intuition and better instinct, better capabilities. It's more suited to this earth realm 3D environment. And so in the earth realm, the human consciousness, the biological consciousness, is smarter than the spiritual one. So if we're looking to spirits to guide us in our day to day, how to live our life in the most effective way, spirit's not going to be able to do that for us. It's the consciousness of our physical biology working with the consciousness of the earth that is going to do that. And imagine, you're a mother and you're watching your children being genetically modified and being used as vessels of war for control over, you know, resources and things like that. That mother's going to have PTSD. And so, by continuing to perpetuate war and conflict in the vessels walking on the surface of the earth, they continue to oppress and traumatize the earth itself. And so, for each human vessel that heals itself, comes to an understanding of what it is, that's more of the physical earth itself that can to it and instinctively choose what's right for this physical experience on earth. I think that covers all the subjects and angles from that part of it. And which part of it was we covering? Oh, how it happened. The physical consciousness versus the spirit so called consciousness, which has its own physical qualities, it has its own expression and limitations there in that parallel reality. So, this is how it all happened, and this is how we can do it better.